Which fictional death hit you the hardest? John Coffey, The Green Mile. A sweet and innocent soul, blessed, or cursed, with the gift of sight. Sight into people's hearts and minds. He was accused of murder, having come across the bodies of 2 murdered children, whom he had tried to save. He healed and eased others' suffering by taking it into himself. The scene where he is in the electric chair, terrified, and everyone is watching with accusatory eyes. The guards know of his innocence and are heartbroken because there is nothing they can do. That scene gets me every time. Michael Clarke Duncan was a magnificent pick for that role. Vincent Nigel Murray, Bones, Please Don't Make Me Leave. Quote, "When I was a small child, my father invented stories about a truck that worked hard and drove challenging roads all over the world. Then, he ran out of stories, and sent the truck to the junkyard. Made me very sad as a small child who loved trucks. At age 66, makes me sad to remember." Brooks in Shawshank Redemption, Crying Face. Sirius Black. "As a kid, I lived through Harry vicariously, as he seemed to go through bad garbage just like me. But unlike me, he suddenly had a father figure who loved him, didn't treat him like a child, someone Harry finally felt owed him as a parent unconditionally." Seeing that particular safety violently yanked from Harry, Mad Eam put the book down for a few days. Spock. Saw it in the theater. Didn't know it was comin'. No internet spoilers back then lol. Granny Weatherwax from Terry Pratchett's Discworld. It was the last novel and released just after his death. Granny dying mirrored that Terry was in fact gone too. Such a magnificent author. John Coffey, Don't Put Me in the Dark. Eyes Afraid of the Dark. Sweets from Bones. Did not see that coming. Not technically a death, but when Wall-E's memory banks got fried, at the end, I felt that in my soul. Thankfully Pixar would never leave us on a note like that, but darn. That little robot moved me so much. Charlotte in Charlotte's Web. It's been 40 years and I still can't even think about it without getting choked up. Edit. Wow, this blew up, thanks, everyone, especially for the silver. I was in the back of our big green 1972 station wagon when I finished the book, and I remember so very clearly what a complete wreck I was. Glad to know I'm not alone. Send me out, with a bang. SGT. Avery Johnson. Dr. Mark Green. When Thomas died in My Girl and when G-Baby died in Hardball. No tears. Just fluffed up ways to go so young. The first 20 minutes of Up. I'm still scarred. Atreya's horse Artax. Mordin Solus in Mass Effect 3. Had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong. Seymour Butts. Goddern you, Futurama. Why you gotta make me feel the feels? Charlie Lost. I read Where the Red Fern Grows as a teen. When the dog Old Dan died after saving Billy from a mountain lion. Followed by the other dog Little Ann of a Broken Heart. I was inconsolable. Not sure if this should be an apology or an appreciation edit. I would like to thank everyone for the fantastic response. I stayed up late reading the comments and blowing my nose. I feel a connection of sorts with each of you. I'm 40-ish YRS old and am surprised that the book is still messing with kids' innocence. Prim. Threw the book across the room. What was this all for? Wash in Serenity. I am a leaf on the wind. Sarah from The Last of Us. Joel's reaction gets me every time. Opie in Sons of Anarchy. Every thread that asks this sort of question gets the same answer from me. Leslie from Bridge to Terabithia. Bob from Percy Jackson House of Hades. Hit me like a truck when I read it the first time. Hank from Breaking Bad. Dude started the series as a stereotypical meathead that I thought I was gonna hate, but had one of the biggest character arcs besides Walt and Jesse. By the end I was rooting pretty hard for him. Imagine finding out someone close to you was a major drug lord if you were a DEA agent IRL. That would have to be awful and embarrassing. Edit. Thanks for the gold whoever did it. The death of Optimus Prime in the 1980s Transformers movie. Brendan Fraser in Scrubs. How has no one mentioned Bubba from Forrest Gump? You're lying if you say you didn't cry. Algernon Flowers for Algernon. Boromir from LOTR. Any deaths in the Clone Wars series, Satine, Domino Squad, Waxer. Sad face. Greater than, Arthur Morgan, less than in Red Dead Redemption 2 edit, added spoiler tags. Ned Stark. You watch the entire first season of GOT thinking he will be the main character and then he gets his darn head chopped off. It shocked me. The 10th Doctor, Dr. Woe. Sam the onion picker in Holes. My man just wanted that lady to be his wife so they could live together in onion and peach-filled bliss, and goddarnit she wanted it too. Still makes me sad to this day. Rita in Dexter was a bad one. As a kid it was definitely Mufasa, that part of the film haunted me for months. Now Yondu's death makes me bawl, Romanoff's makes my heart break, and Danny's death in Pearl Harbor is a very poignant one for me. Naruto Shippuden when Jiraiya-sensei died. I forever remember his little feet clap in the intro of that season. Edit, my first silver thank you. Noble 6 in Halo Reach, I never really experienced death of my characters before, so it really stuck with me, fighting to the very bitter end and just having to watch him die. All alone. Knowing the lore of previous Halo stuff and his particular Spartan project. 6 didn't even die with his friends. He went out solo in a glorious but futile display of defiance. Made me sick to my stomach at the time. Spartans never die. Well, not going to spoil it, but if you've seen Bridge to Terabithia, you know what I'm referring to. Tadashi, Big Hero 6. I think any death where the actor died in real life, because the actors aren't just saying goodbye to the character but the actor as well, and that emotion really comes through and makes it really hard to watch. Think the main example of this is Finn from Glee. That episode was so hard to watch. LT Colonel Henry Blakedit, thank you for the silver and gold smiley face. The wife in Up. Wesley Wyndern Price from Angelby. That point he was so broken due to Fred's death that it seemed like a mercy. Would you like me to lie to you now? Yes. Thank you, yes. Edit, syntax. Cedric Diggory. Harry Potter books 1–3 were all sunshine and rainbows, but the 4th is where it started to get dark. My 12-year-old self was also not expecting his death because it happened so quickly, and he was only a student. I had to ride my bike to the park to process his death. And this was while I never particularly rooted Team Harry for his character. Littlefoot's mom in The Land Before Time. I posted this recently, but when I first saw it as a kid it was the first time that I realized that my parents could die. That thought had never even really occurred to me at that point. Even now as an adult, that scene, where he thinks he sees her but it's just his shadow and the narrator says, then Littlefoot knew for certain he was alone, still gets to me. This is weird, but Wygritte from Got. When she said, we should have stayed in that cave, it really hit home. My GF at the time and I were on a break and going through a bunch of stuff, and that episode made me want to go back to our little cave one last time. Arthur Morgan, he was the best cowboy. He only wanted what was best for the gang, and his sickness made him realize that there was no way out. He had to save who he could. Has to be the Jewish soldier from Saving Private Ryan when he gets stabbed in chest. The feeling of rage when the guy on the stairs just freezes and does nothing. The utter helplessness you feel for the Jewish guy and the hate you feel for the German soldier they freed earlier in the film. Even just typing it makes the feelings come back. Really powerful scene. Many peeps saying the soldier is not the same. I just assumed it was because he walked past the soldier on the stairs instead of killing him. Koro Sensei's death. Ginger in Black Beauty. Shmuel from The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Right, Sarah Lynn, edit, oh, wow. My first awards. Thank you kind strangers. Dog from Futurama. Glenn in The Walking Dead. It was so brutal. I was really sad about Fred Weasley. The fact he was a twin made it worse. Dobby. Yondu's death from Guardians of the Galaxy 2. He may have been your father, boy, but he wasn't your daddy. Quote. Shazaa, I am not done with part 3, stop spoiling. Ace, One Piece. Hodor. Bing Bong from Inside Out. IDK, what was up with that movie? But that was the first time I nearly cried while watching a movie. Lion King? Shrug Red Dog? Doesn't affect Maya Goddard children's movie that I didn't even watch all of. Fluffing Heartbreaks. Finnick from The Hunger Games. Catch a Ride. 99, a deformed clone trooper who couldn't serve in the Clone Wars and just worked as a janitor instead. When he sacrificed himself, that hit me. Sirius Black. Goose from Top Gun. The dog in I Am Legend. Edit, thanks to the kind Redditor for correcting my mislabeled title. Fred, Harry Potter. Greater than, Lee Everett, less than from Telltale's Walking Dead. I played through the entire game 3 times desperate for a way to save him somehow. Greater than, he went through so much to save Clementine, and the fact she sees her parents dead and then loses Lee just makes the whole thing so sad. Less than also, greater than, Marco, less than from Saga. Greater than, Marco was my favorite character and I feel like he brought out the best in Alana. I'm not sure how she'll cope without him. What's worse is the comic is on hiatus and his wife and daughter and mom don't know he's dead yet. Less than edit, added spoiler tags.